So here at DOTD, we take each crash seriously. We analyze the contributing factors to those crashes, and we determine if there are any safety measures that we can take as a department to improve the safety of our roadways. I'd like to ask DOTD District 04 Administrator David North to come forward and share some remarks on behalf of the Northwest region.
Good morning. DOTD makes an active effort every single day to improve the safety along our highways. This holiday season especially, we will be attentive to the conditions of the roadway. And I ask that as you drive, you do too. If we have a condition that is on our roadways that causes it to be less than it would normally be, consider slowing down, because a little bit of reduction in speed can pay major benefits. We also ask that you not get on the roadways to travel if you are sleepy, if you're impaired. Those things also contribute to accidents because of the increased reaction time. At 60 miles an hour, you're traveling 88 feet per second. And if your reaction time is reduced by a second, then it means another 88 feet. And can make the difference between a crash and a safe trip. I wish all of you a good holiday season and that you can go safely along our roadways. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, 56-year-old Constance Cole died when she left the roadway and struck a culvert on US 371 in Red River Parish. 58-year-old Floyd Gray II lost his life when his vehicle left the roadway on LA 528 in Webster Parish. His vehicle overturned. And on the Sunday after Thanksgiving, 44-year-old Omar Gonzalez and 47-year-old Mifrong Trong were both killed on I-20 in Webster Parish following a crash that initially involved a deer, but ultimately involved 3 vehicles total. And while the circumstances of all of these crashes are still under investigation, the facts are that none of these individuals are still here with us today. We take all of our roles in the safety of our roadways seriously. And keep in mind the crashes that we're referencing today are only the crashes that were worked by Louisiana State Police, not those that may have been worked by local law enforcement agencies. I'd now like to ask Captain Mike Mayu with Louisiana State Police Troop G to take the podium.
Thank you, Aaron. Good morning, everyone. As we continue into the holiday travel season, I'm pleading with our Louisiana motorists to do everything they can to make this holiday season a safe one. Unfortunately, troopers have to face the hardest parts of their job when they deliver death notifications, and this happens way too often. What is most frustrating is that the majority of these crashes are 100% preventable. It's frustrating because I know that each person killed in a motor vehicle crash is much more than a simple number. Just as Aaron said, these are our family, our friends, our loved ones. Their loss will impact our families forever. I can't help but pray for all the families who will receive the horrific news of the death of a loved one. Preliminary fatality statistics for 2021 have surpassed those in 2020. Troopers have investigated 37 fatal crashes resulting in 39 deaths just in the Troop G area. At this same time last year, Troop G troopers had investigated 26 fatal crashes resulting in 32 deaths. In 2021, over 900 people have died on Louisiana roadways. Please do your part, remaining vigilant while driving and following the laws. Help us prevent making death notifications by using seat belts, driving sober, and remaining attentive. And finally, please call us at Star LSP when you witness aggressive or unsafe drivers. We want all Louisiana citizens to enjoy the holiday season and not have to face tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you. So I mentioned how seriously we all take the safety of our roadways, whether that be through enforcement, engineering, or education. Education is a large component of what Dr. Shelley Barrett does as the regional coordinator for the Northwest Louisiana Transportation Safety Coalition. She works daily with dozens of agencies and organizations on a mission of hopefully one day reaching destination 0 deaths on our highways. Dr. Barrett, please come forward.
Henry Ford, who earned the distinction as a giant in the automotive industry, said that coming together is an accomplishment, staying together is progress, but working together is success. Our goal here today is to work together for a successfully safe holiday travel season. As your Regional Transportation Safety Coordinator, my job is to provide educational outreach to citizens in an effort to reduce the number of fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways. According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Association, an estimated 20,160 people died in motor vehicle crashes in the first half of 2021. That's an 18.4% increase since 2020. It's also the largest number of projected fatalities in that time period since 2006. As of December 15th, Louisiana's roadway fatality toll is an alarming 908, like Captain Mayu said. We have surpassed 2020, and the number of family and friends that we've lost on our roadways is the highest it's been in 7 years. This year in the Northwest region, Louisiana State Police has worked 26 crashes with 32 fatalities. This Thanksgiving alone, Louisiana State Police worked 16 fatalities across the state, 4 of those in our area, as Aaron said. We can all agree that one fatality is one too many. This holiday season, please celebrate responsibly. Make good decisions as both the driver and the passenger. Being a parent is the most important job that I have, and I encourage all parents to be firm and diligent with child seats and seatbelt use. If not taught as children, how will young adults learn to make independent, life-saving decisions? It's your job. Set a good example. Also, as a driver, demonstrate to your passengers what it looks like to pay complete attention to the roadway. According to NHTSA, in 2019, one person was killed every 52 minutes in a drunk driving crash across our nation's roads. During the Christmas and New Year Day periods in 2019 alone, there were more drunk driving fatalities than during any other holiday period that year. Nighttime is particularly dangerous for drunk driving fatalities and time to be on the road. The rate of alcohol impairment among drivers involved in fatal crashes is 3 times higher at night than in the day. If you've been drinking, do not get behind the wheel. Even a small amount of alcohol can affect your ability to drive. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Call a sober friend, take a ride share, call a taxi to get home safely. If you're the designated driver, take that job seriously. Celebrate with a plan. Give yourself the gift of getting home safely. I hope this holiday season brings nothing but joy and happiness to you and your families. Travel safely.
Thank you, Dr. Barrett. Your work is incredibly important across a number of platforms. Louisiana State Police routinely work fatal crashes in which alcohol use is confirmed to be a contributing factor. And while we all know the incredible danger this presents, we continue to see this reckless behavior taking place behind the wheel. Mothers Against Drunk Driving doesn't hate alcohol, as Freddie will tell you, but they do hate drunk driving. And they work in a number of ways to educate and bring awareness to this widespread issue. I'd like to ask Freddie Burns, Victim Services Specialist with MAD, to come forward.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm Freddie Burns, the Victim Services Specialist for the Northern Region of Louisiana. The holidays are the most dangerous times on our nation's roadways, with more people traveling, an increased number of festivities where alcohol is served, and subsequently a surge in drunk driving. Therefore, it is more important than ever that we work collectively to ensure that our roads are safe to travel on for the sake of us and our loved ones. As part of MAD's Victim Services program, I play an active role in advocating for the elimination of impaired driving. I not only do this by raising awareness through outreach and campaigning, but I also accomplish this by providing victim-based services to those whose lives have been affected dramatically due to impaired driving, long after the crash. For those who lost their lives to impaired driving, their loved ones have the burden of going on without them. dreams that will never be fulfilled, memories that will not be made, and stories that will not be told. For survivors, they have to experience the trauma and pain of knowing their lives will never be the same due to someone getting behind the wheel while intoxicated. Because of their courage and endurance, MAD works tirelessly every day along with victims, volunteers, law enforcement, and partners to ensure that no one has to undergo and witness the grief of this avoidable act. 35 years ago, MAD started promoting the designated driver and its Red Ribbon Holiday campaign, also known as our Taiwan Armed for Safety campaign, which began last month on November 1st and will continue until December 31st of this year. This project continues to urge the public today to designate a non-drinking driver to keep everyone safe on the roads. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data shows an alarming increase in drunk driving deaths and in the presence of alcohol and other drugs among seriously or fatally injured drivers at 5 major trauma cities during this pandemic. Even at the regional and local levels, these numbers are way too high for something that is 100% preventable. To remind everyone to stay safe and make the right choice to designate a driver, MAD asks everyone to Taiwan on for safety by placing a red ribbon, on their car this holiday season. Whether that means tying a red ribbon onto car antennas like we did in 1986, or placing newer magnetic red ribbons on their cars, the sentiment remains the same. If you drink, don't drive. Always designate a non-drinking, unimpaired driver. In closing, MAD Louisiana would like to thank you for allowing us to give those whose lives have been dramatically changed by impaired driving a voice by saying, no more victims. December 1st marked the beginning of National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, and we urge you to support law enforcement and their efforts to keep our roads safe, doing your part by driving safe and unimpaired. We also encourage you to plan ahead, designate a non-drinking driver, use rideshare like Uber or Lyft, or public transportation to prevent roadway fatalities. Remember, when you drive while impaired, not only are you putting your life at risk, but those who share the road with you. During this holiday season, take the necessary precautions to ensure everyone arrives home safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. MAD has a number of important resources on their website, and putting a face and name to a crash statistic is crucial in emphasizing the importance of safe driving behavior. I'd like to go ahead and share 2 particularly compelling PSAs from MAD that can be found at mad.org, along with a wealth of other material. I'm going to turn these lights out so we can better see the screen, and I'll pull those up real quick.
America, meet Philip, a happy-go-lucky prankster, incredibly talented athlete, and lovable son and brother. His life was changed forever. This is his drunk driving story. 28.7 million people admit to driving drunk every year. 28.7 million means that on any given day, there are roughly 300,000 drunk drivers on the road. Thankfully, 1.1 million are caught and arrested, roughly 3,200 a day. But even with those arrests, there are still 296,800 drunk drivers on the road each day. Keep in mind the statistic strictly focuses on the people who admit to driving drunk. Philip lived in a highly populated area, so it only took him 26 years to encounter one of these drunk drivers. But Philip survived the crash. He was only injured, just injured. But those injuries were so severe that he was left with permanent brain damage and the inability to care for himself. After the crash, the medical bills began piling up, far surpassing $250,000 in the first 6 months alone. So Philip's family attempted to sue the drunk driver, but on top of his legal fees, he could only pay them $10,000. Then they attempted to sue the bar that overserved the driver, but the bar's insurance policy ran out, leaving Philip's family at a financial dead end. Speaking of the driver that hit Philip, the average drunk driver will make it home 80 times before being arrested, and this driver already had 6 prior drunk driving offenses, but still took to the road drinking and driving. The kicker in all of this? Although Philip was left with permanent brain damage, the driver didn't kill him, and since he maximum sentence in his case was just 10 years. The driver got 10 years. Philip got life. That's 10 years for ruining one man's future, leaving one family in pain, and creating one story to share. The drunk driving epidemic is hard to dispute when you stick to the stats. Over 1.1 million drunk drivers are arrested every year, and drunk driving injures 290,000 people a year, from minor to debilitating injuries, just like Philip's. In fact, in the 2 minutes you spend watching this video, another innocent person has been injured by a drunk driver. With numbers this high, we're all involved. If you or someone you know has been impacted by drunk driving, please share your story on social media using hashtag #MyDrunkDrivingStory.
My name is Alex Oddie.
My name is Michelle Ramsey.
Lisa Black,
Donna Dyer.
Jeff Kivasic.
Jennifer Zavala.
Jared Swan.
When I was 13 years old, I was run over by a drunk boater. It left me with severe injuries from head to toe that I will have for the rest of my life.
And an impaired driver killed my 4-year-old son and my 6-year-old son.
an impaired driver left me severely injured in continuous pain.
Killed my daughter and unborn granddaughter.
Left me permanently disabled at the age of 23.
An impaired driver killed my father and left my kids without a papa.
An impaired driver killed my brother.
That acknowledges that drunk and drug driving are violent crimes. We recognize these crimes and support the rights of victims and survivors. If you have been impacted by a drunk or drug driving crash, MAD is here for you. Reach out to our 24-hour victim helpline.
Along with the agencies you see here today, there are countless others working in their communities right now to keep our roadways safe. These are the people who respond in emergencies, see the devastation firsthand, and as Captain Mayu said, carry the incredibly heavy burden of notifying loved ones of the worst news that they'll ever receive. Thank you everyone again for being here today, and we are open to any questions members of the media may have for us. No questions. Okay. All right, well, that concludes our press conference. We hope that the message that you received will be received well from your audiences, and we thank you again for being here. Thank you.